Lots of pressure. Hopefully I'll be somewhat better than last time, but we'll see. So show of hands, who here is from the insurance industry? Oh, shit. Okay. Sorry in advance. League loves you. We love you. We love partnering with you. I'm going to tear into you a lot tonight, and I apologize in advance. So some of the lessons are actually from disrupting insurance in particular, but for the most part, it's kind of over the years of working in product, especially at startups. It's kind of lessons from disrupting any industry and working at startups and being super, super scrappy. So I'm going to talk about when you kind of have to fake a lot of things, and then when it's time to actually determine whether or not you should buckle down and actually make something. So, but first, so as Breanna gave an amazing introduction, I'm the director of product at League, also co-founder of Ladies Learning Code. If you haven't heard of Ladies Learning Code, please check it out. It's amazing. We're in every city basically across Canada at this point with the Codemobile edition. And we've recently rebranded into Canada Learning Code because we just want to really, really empower everyone to learn the language that is code. It's a nonprofit, and it's something that I'm insanely passionate about as a raging feminist in tech. And so, yeah, huge shout out to Ladies Learning Code, but tonight is definitely because we're talking about insurance, and we'll be talking a lot more about my experience of working at League. This is the slide that our dear marketing team asked me to put up. It's beautiful, we're amazing. So the way that I actually like to describe League is we're health benefits that aren't shitty. So I don't think we can really put that on our marketing materials, but basically it's like actually an app that you want to use. Our MAU numbers are amazing. Our members love it. I love to use it. I'm proud to work at the company. I never, ever, ever thought in my career I'd be standing in front of at an insurance event, but here I am. So yeah, I'm going to talk about kind of what the experience in the last 8 months at League has been working with insurance. So who was I? As Breanna mentioned, I worked at a company called Universe. It was events, event software. Wattpad was for a publishing platform. HackerU was a coding school. Extreme Labs was a kind of dev consulting. So Artez Interactive was a fundraising platform. So I've actually worked at Salesforce.com as a CMS, a CRM. I've worked at a ton of different industries, which again, just really, I'm here to prove to you that you don't have to be experienced in one particular vertical. The lessons that you learn in many, many different industries can be applied and actually as a huge asset when it comes to disrupting other industries. You learn a lot. So you may have noticed, again, none of those are insurance companies. So why the hell am I standing up in front of you today? So I've been working in insurance for about 7 months, as I mentioned. So, but I think that this is a really, really great time for me to kind of share some of the insights and things that we've done when it comes to disrupting such a huge, crazy, archaic industry. So that's why I'm kind of here today. And talking about faking something before you make it, that's me standing in front of you. I'm pretending to know something about insurance. On my first day, I had a rude awakening, and I spent most of my time Googling. I literally Googled, what is an underwriter? I had no clue. I still, to this day, if you ask me, I still would struggle to kind of explain it, which shows a huge problem with the industry. There's terminology that people don't understand, regular people. So if I don't even understand it and I work at a company that my job is to kind of understand it, then how the hell are the people who actually really need insurance and use these types of products, how are they going to understand it? So after Googling was a little bit confusing, it helped me out a little bit. I did the next good thing that a product manager should do. I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit down and interview people. I'm going to sit down with the experts and really understand from them, get them to explain what insurance is to me. And then I panicked. I was like, they're throwing words ASO, all these different, plan design, LTD, STD, which is something I totally thought was very different. And I kind of still sometimes giggle every time someone says it in a big, important pitch, which is not great for me. So I was like, oh great, this is even worse. I'm actually I'm trying to learn something. I have all these experts, and I still have no idea what the hell they're talking about. So how the hell am I gonna work in this industry? So I Googled more, and I kept Googling, and then I realized, you know what? It doesn't matter. I created an insurance speak cheat sheet in our wiki where every time I heard a different acronym that I didn't understand, that I basically Googled or I asked them what it meant, I wrote it down. One of the weirdest things to me, the weirdest terminology was people in insurance call humans, like me, lives. That's how they refer to people. That's a huge problem, especially when you're building products for people. You're calling them fucking lives. Like, that's how you see them? Like, oh, if they die, they're meaningless to you? I mean, I guess maybe, but it's so messed up. So the one thing that made me feel a lot better about, because I'm, again, freaked out. I'm like, I'm in insurance. What the hell am I doing? I knew I was at the right place because we actually have at League a lives jar, which sounds kind of messed up, sounds a little bit spiritual, but basically it's where people will put money if they slip up, especially on our sales team, they can be bad for that. If they slip up and get into kind of insurance language, they have to pay money. It's banned at League. We want to be human insurance. We want to be human readable, human friendly. So the one really interesting epiphany that I had, and this was like about week 3 in, I was like, you know what? Okay, I got this. I knew nothing about publishing. I knew nothing about like a lot of other kind of applications that I worked on when I worked at Pivotal, cars and stuff. I didn't know anything about that. I'm like, if I can take something that's super complicated that call people lives, and I can make myself understand it, then hey, maybe I can make other people understand it as well, and maybe I can make insurance not suck. So I started faking it. All right, so the first thing that we do at League when it comes to faking, making insurance modern, because it's not. So we took one which is hilarious, that banking beat insurance on something. Like, that's how archaic we're talking about. Everyone can submit a check now. You can take a photo and you're good. You don't have to go to deposit it to a bank. But yet, even the really sleek and sexy, and there's ads out there for the new insurance apps that you still have to click through like 8 different things. You still have to fill out the same form that was on paper, and now it's just in 8 different steps on your phone. So it looks cool because it's an app. But what we ended up doing is we're like, we can be better than that. So we created a one-click, like a photo submission for all of your claims. So you don't have to fill out those long forms. So it seems really fancy, like, wow, League's this new startup. We have less than like a tenth of the development teams that insurance companies have. But we built this like crazy complicated software that can read can read a receipt, right? OCR technology. Nope. It's actually on the other end, because turns out claims are actually, there's a reason why you have to fill out the forms. It is way more complicated, especially claims adjudication, which is another word that I Googled, but basically it's like figuring out whether or not something's covered by insurance or not. So what we ended up having on the other end is we have a bunch of people like me, only they know way more about insurance and they're way smarter than I am. On the other end, literally looking at the photo that someone submitted, transcribing it, and determining what category it fit in, whether or not, like what part of their plan. So we're doing all this crazy manual stuff just to make sure that we're not giving that shitty experience. That's how much we'll invest in the best user experience. So that's a fun product to work on, right? It's going to get to the point, and to be honest, we've now reached a tipping point with our customer base, which is good news, where this is becoming completely unscalable. So now we had to figure out, okay, when do we stop faking it, and when do we actually invest in OCR technology? When do we start replacing the humans that are reading this? They'll never go away, but we can at least find ways to make them faster. But yeah. There's a person behind it. It seems like magic, especially because your claim is approved within seconds, but there's a person behind there. Insurance is integrated. So I had the biggest misconception about this. I thought when I went to, because I went to my dentist and I went to Shoppers Drug Mart. I mean, they're not integrated. You have to give your information at every Shoppers, but I at least thought this magic computer in the background, okay, like that's like this magic insurance land that everything's completely insured, because they type it in and they're like, oh yeah, you're covered. And they know how much I have to pay and all this. So I thought that there's like this magical, amazing system. There's a number of them. They're not all integrated. TELUS Health, I guess, has like a huge monopoly on it, but all these systems are completely disconnected. But we don't want to pass that on to our customers. We don't want them to know that we're not completely fully integrated. We want them to think it's a beautiful, smooth, end-to-end experience. We don't want them to have to interact with like 7 different touch points, so we faked it. We have an amazing digital enrollment process. They sign on to our computer, it's nice, user-friendly, it's mobile optimized, and they go through, they enter all their information. Because I know, like, if you guys have ever enrolled in health benefits, I'm sure you have. You get HR on your first day or second day, you get that piece of paper you have to fill out. You have to write 0 a bunch of times on the right-hand side. You have no clue what you're signing, really. So we've replaced that, and we've actually made that digital. We don't have those annoying zeros throughout, like they're completely unnecessary. We're, again, speaking to you like you're a human, not a life. But this is all fake. In the background, there's literally, until we gain the trust from a lot of insurance companies, which we're starting to get there finally, but we're a scrappy little startup. We're trying to prove to them, please partner with us, please integrate with us, please let us actually automate some of this. There is instances where we're literally mailing or faxing enrollment forms on our clients' behalf when we can't actually integrate with other insurance companies. Again, we don't want to expose them to that. So we are taking this on and we're faking it all until we can, again, gain the trust with these third parties. So don't let something like, okay, there's no amazing API, or we don't have the perfect experience, like we needed a full end-to-end integration. That's bullshit excuse to not give a great experience. Like, hire people, like hire interns, hire like staff that can actually do some of this stuff. That's how you can win. Is you get scrappy and you do the stuff that no one else is willing to do, and then eventually you can work towards making it actually integrated once you kind of have some clout. Insurance is simple. This is the one that I try to fake all the time. I try to fake it in my head. I try to fake it to our customers as much as we possibly can. So, for those, I don't know if, show of hands, how many of you have used League ever before? Yeah. Okay, so we have a bot, so you don't have to wait on hold to talk to somebody. You can talk to them through chat like you normally would your friends and your loved ones, because that's where we all are. We're really antisocial and we can't even stand talking to each other on the phone, let alone face-to-face. So we have a bot. We also have, on the other side of it, of the bot, we have a human. It's hilarious how people are like, oh yeah, your bot's really intelligent. It sounds like really personal. Yeah, it does. It's a person. Our customer, I love our customer support team. The number of times they have to actually say to people, no, I am a human. And like, they're like, oh, that's funny. Like, the robots are taking over, they're learning, they're like coming up with their own language. No, it's actually, we have people on the other side. We can't, like, until, I don't know if you've spoken to AI bots, especially like the assistant, who I end up apologizing because I get frustrated because she can never get it right, and I end up apologizing because I'm Canadian. I'm like, I'm really sorry, but can I please speak to a human? So until we can actually ensure that the bots are becoming smart enough and it's not a frustrating experience, we try to supplement, again, because we have our amazing customer service team who's on the other end reviewing claims manually to make sure it's perfect, and we have to try to scale them as much as possible. So we do supplement some things with a bot, but for the most part, when it comes to, I just need to know if this super obscure tooth cleaning, like teeth whitening procedure that I want, if that's covered. I want someone to actually say, yes, Breanna, that particular thing is covered. And again, this is gonna be something that we're gonna have to eventually make, but it doesn't mean that we have to stop and we can't provide this amazing experience until we can get there. So it's literally fake it until you make it. It's like challenge yourself, because then you get to find out, and we document the whole time, like what are the flaws that we actually think, if we were to automate a lot of this, where do we think the gotchas are? So then we can actually build these like scapegoats, or sorry, escapes, where we know like if someone gets into a certain type of conversation, like get them away from a bot, get them to a human as soon as possible. So we're continuously learning from these human conversations. It's also really interesting to see how people talk to bots. Canadians are really nice, but it'll be interesting to see how that evolves. But you can't fake everything forever. We are building a business. We've built a business. And so not all of it can be smoke and mirrors, if you will. So when's the right time to make it? So there's a lot of different things that I go through when I'm trying to determine the like, all right, when do we hunker down and build a full, like get away from the MVP, and when do we build a full kind of end-to-end product? When do we like double down and invest a team in something? Especially like I'm super lazy and super cheap when it comes to development, which I think is actually a really, really great attribute for a product manager, not maybe in society. I watch a lot of TV. I'm lazy. I don't want to spend development resources unnecessarily. And you have to be really frugal. So these are the big three that I am always evaluating when it comes to actually investing further into building on top of these MVPs. So impact is number one. Like, impact can mean a number of different things, especially in a startup. Impact with investors, impact with acquiring new clients, impact with partners, impact with your customers probably should be number one, and the customer experience. And also like impact on scaling your team. Feasibility, of course. Like there are certain things that we have to fake because it's completely impossible for us to do right now. Until we actually can build these stronger relationships, which I appreciate I might be hurting a little bit by making fun of insurance so much, but until we can build stronger partnerships with these third-party carriers that we rely on so much, it's very difficult we can't build an end-to-end integration. We have to be mailing and faxing and doing whatever carrier pigeon we want. Drones will save the day for this kind of stuff. And then, of course, effort. That's the typical one. If this is a monstrosity beast and it's not actually changing fundamentally your business, then it's probably okay. Effort's on the other side as well. What's the effort to maintain something so manual, something so kind of archaic and crazy from a cost perspective, a human mental capacity? It's also not a very fulfilling job to continuously be doing these scrappy things. There is a certain tipping point where we have to figure out that we have to invest in it further. So what did we set out to actually make? So we're faking a lot of stuff. We've set out to make insurance cool. It's a huge beast. And it's very, very hard, but it is not cool. Insurance is not cool. When I tell people I work at I'm like, this company, League. I try to say anything but insurance. I'm like, yeah, we have you can use your health benefits to cover yoga classes and your gym membership, and it's awesome. And we have all these meditation classes at work. And they're like, so wait, did I hear benefits? Insurance, right? I'm like, shit, I'm out. I'm outed. Insurance isn't cool. It's not sexy. But we're really, really trying to make it cool. We're putting a lot of upfront investment in our design, in our product to make it really, really simple to use. That's why it's fun to work at League in product, because we actually get to take something that's so hideous and actually invest in it and have fun with it. It's lighthearted. You see, there's a little yoga meditation person. We made a modern health marketplace with brands that our members actually love. So I don't know if you've seen, a lot of benefit companies, especially the traditional ones, they're trying to create these directories of like all your different kind of massage, like orthopedic surgeons, whatever you can use your benefits on. So what we're actually doing is we're using data, again, collecting it and looking at it manually because we don't have a data science team of like 20 people. It's usually me and somebody else where we look at all the categorization and we look at the different vendors that people are spending their money, their benefits money on. And we're like, okay, what do people love? Okay, people love Totem. They love Equinox. We're like, okay, let's get them into our marketplace. Headspace. They have an amazing, cute little meditation guy. Headspace is a product that people love. Like we're actually building something where people are spending their money on as opposed to just saying, hey, spend all your dollars on this. We're listening to them because they're spending their money there. And building a marketplace, I don't know if any of you have ever done it, it's batshit. It's so hard. Because not only do you always are in a constant battle of demand and supply, where if you have too much supply, your partners get very frustrated, right? They're like, well, you said we were gonna have all these people purchasing our product. They don't understand, because they have to accept appointments through chat on our platform, which they don't do. Like they for the most part, like they've just moved to email, woo. There's another industry if you wanna like, small business. So we actually get them to be on chat so people can chat and book appointments through our application and pay through their spending account. That's very, very hard to convince these businesses. So we have to have a constant balance of really promoting them and making sure that our members are actually engaging with them. Otherwise, the partners are gonna be unhappy and the members are gonna be unhappy. So it's an extremely hard balance, and I had no clue. So we also want to make insurance about health because it sure as hell is not. And that was really, really disappointing for me when I started working at League. I learned very, very quickly that insurance is very political. It has like a very dark, seedy kind of underbelly when it comes to health and how it looks at, again, lives. Like, how do you talk about people as lives? That's nuts. So at League, we were like, okay, how can we make insurance about health? We created something which is, again, kind of crazy. We don't know, like our members love it right now. We don't know, we're being scrappy. We hired 2 nurses on staff, which is amazing perk to have at the job, by the way. I'm like, oh, what's this like? I have a hangnail, I have a bruise. She's telling us stretches all the time. So we actually made a chat-based nurse for our members to talk to. And it's free for them. It comes with League. So if they're having any issue, especially a very, very, again, something that insurance is completely ignoring is mental health. Mental health is becoming a huge problem. And mental health is actually where we can change lives, those lives, the people. So we actually have a dedicated nurse for mental health, like we're there for our customers. And that's something that, again, insurance doesn't do. They don't invest, they think of, how can we save money? We want to invest in people quitting smoking, losing weight, like managing their diabetes, all like the super chronic issues, right? Because that costs insurance companies the most. But we're like, no, like, what about everybody else? Like, what about the preventative stuff? What about the stuff that doesn't have a visual, like an actual visual cost associated against it yet? Mental health does actually. It's completely ignored, but it has a cost to employers. Absenteeism, people having to like take the day off, quitting, not being able to handle the stress. They underperform at work. It's a huge overlooked issue, and no one seems to really care. Anyway, we're trying. So we also made a rewards program to encourage people to be healthier. Again, this is like something that's pretty crazy. We're like, yeah, we want people to actually change their lives, drink more water, eat healthier, change habits, and we want to reward them. And we are, again, giving them actual money to spend and to invest in their health based on if they are showing healthier habits. And it's not like, again, the typical ones. We don't have the step counter, although we will eventually, but because we're faking it. We're not gonna do an integration yet because we wanna see first whether or not this is something that people are interested in. But we're gonna actually have like, take 5 minutes per day to meditate. Try things that you actually normally wouldn't do. So you should make insurance about you. A lot of you work in the insurance industry. I figured instead of succumbing to imposter syndrome, which I have like tenfold, so I have it now, great. Like, do I even know what I'm doing when it comes to product management? And now I have, do I know anything about insurance? Like, every day I'm like, what the hell am I doing? But then I realized, no, like, make it something that you care, like, that you love, that you want to work on, you want to change. And chances are, all the people that are using your product will love it too. It seems really easy, but it's really, really hard to not get caught up in the red tape, the politics, having people say, no, you can't do that, no, this is the industry, this is the way things are. Screw that. Like, when you're building a product, especially if you're a product manager, you have a lot of power to say, no, screw that, like, challenge the status quo. Fake a ton of shit. If it's right for your customers and it's right for you and you know it's right, then do whatever you can at all costs, even if it means walking to the post office, getting stamps and mailing that shit in. Do it. You will change. That's how industries are changed. How do I know? Well, Airbnb wasn't started by hotel moguls. Instagram, is it all photographers that work there? Nope. Lyft sure as hell was not started by taxi drivers. And yes, Lyft, not Uber, because fuck those guys. So using technology, again, to solve problems is a universal skill set. It doesn't matter. Again, I've worked at online fundraising platforms, event management. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to be an expert in insurance to work in insurance. In fact, if you look at those other companies, they're so successful and the products they've built are so phenomenal. I think it's because people didn't come from the traditional insurance background. It doesn't mean to say, those of you who are in insurance, that you're screwed. You're like, oh, well, what am I going to do? You actually have the power because you have a lot more power. I'm going to be groveling and apologizing after to you because you have a lot more power. We're really dependent on working with you to change this industry. But you don't have to be an expert in anything to be an expert in it. Fake it. Fake it. And also the one craziest, most obvious thing, but unfortunately looking at tech especially, but as the industry as a whole, hiring a diverse team is extremely important. Don't hire a ton of people that just all look like you, think like you. Hire people that will challenge you. And hire a team that knows how to execute, ones that care, ones that will literally go and fax and mail and do all that crazy shit because they care and they believe in the product, they believe in what you're doing, and they can execute, and they care about that. That's a huge recipe for success. And fake it. Thanks.